Well, hello everyone. Thank you so much for tuning in to 2020 Seminar Marketing Success Strategies. I absolutely love this topic. I love events. I love learning. I love having fun. So much comes together when you have a seminar or an event. And today we're going to talk about how to help you make the most of these opportunities. Thanks so much to everyone who's dialed in. It's great to have people from all over the country, and let's get started. So today, this presentation is brought to you by Insurance WebX. I am an Insurance WebX sales advisor, and what that means is if you go to my page on Insurance WebX, you can read some blog posts about marketing. You can also access any of my former webinars, and if you have questions, you can go ahead and reach out with me here or via LinkedIn, or I'm on Twitter at WiredPRWorks. I'm on Instagram. I'm on Facebook. I'm pretty much everywhere on social. So if you have questions or you want to get in touch, please feel free to do so. So this is the Insurance WebX page. And if you haven't gone there and looked around, take a look. It's a great place for all kinds of learning resources. So what is a typical insurance seminar? A lot of you do seminar marketing, and what you do is you have a dinner and learn or a lunch and learn. This is a picture of me doing a lunch and learn seminar. And it's great when people come. You can have a nice group of folks. You can talk to them about what you do. And it's for all businesses of all sizes, events are really an exciting place to be. In fact, if you look at B2B marketers, in-person events are a marketing tactic that 73% of them use. In fact, it's the number 4 tactic. And you could see everything else that's going on there too. There's a lot of different things that people do for marketing. And why are events successful? Well, because events keep buyers on the journey. And whether it's to build brand awareness, to secure leads, to nurture leads, or to convert leads, in-person events are one of the top 3 ways to do that all across the board. And if you look at to secure leads, if you add in-person events and webinars or online events together, you'll see that 35% of companies are using these tactics to secure their leads. So we know it's great for branding, generating leads, and even conversion. But there is a problem with the dinner club concept, and that is the consumer alert from the National Association of Insurance Commissioners. In fact, they advise people to understand that the offer of free meals, door prizes, and or free advice may lead you to a seminar when you wouldn't otherwise. But it doesn't mean that what they're selling is right for you. There's always a purpose to a free seminar, even those advertised as unbiased and educational. So what are we going to talk about today? We're going to talk about seminar and event marketing, and who is this right for? Well, it's right for you if you're a person who loves getting out and hosting events, if you're a person who needs more leads, if you like to be creative and innovative, if you want to be seen as a thought leader, and a person who connects people to great emotional experiences in real life and also in the buying process. So it would be right for you. And you might also think of yourself as maybe a little bit of a risk taker and somebody who's not afraid to be different. Now today, this is not for you if you're somebody who is really happy with the way things are. You've got plenty of business. Everything is going great. You have a marketing system that works. So this probably isn't for you. And it's also wrong for people who just believe that events don't work. You might believe that they're way too expensive and that it's something you could never do. And even for those of you who think that event production is very expensive and time consuming, stick around because we've got some ideas to show you about how you can make them more accessible and affordable. So what it really comes down to is you want people to love you and they want to love you back. You know, it's all about relationships, isn't it? You want people to feel like they have a positive experience with you. They want to trust you. You want to be an advisor that's part of their family. So that's what you want. And what you need is you need a plan to keep that feeling and that love and all that planning circulating. And what you're in the business of doing is also giving those folks a plan so that they can stay on track. And without a pulse, there's no chance or change that anything's going to happen. So what you need is a plan, and that's what we're going to talk about today. And what you want are results. So need a plan, want results. Same thing your clients want. They need a plan, they want results. So let's talk about that. And you might be saying, well, who is she and why is she here? Well, sometimes I ask myself that question too. How did I get to be where I am today? And rather than take you through my dramatic backstory, and I hope you all have one that goes on for a while, you need to have a really good foundational personal story. I'm going to give you the highlights that really align with the insurance industry. So I know where you're at. I've been there. I've been doing events for, my first job out of college was setting up insurance seminars for agents who wanted to learn how to sell more. So I've done that. I did 60 different events for Social Media Club Chicago, many sold out all across the city, even with speakers like Mark Victor Hansen. So I've done that. I've worked with event planners as part of Meeting Professionals International, either as a keynote speaker, a breakout speaker, or even someone who does event marketing plans for the top planners and got nominated for tomorrow's Leader Award as somebody who really understands event marketing. And then this is a picture of me on the stage at MDRT, where I was doing a presentation to 1,500 insurance agents about how to use LinkedIn. And if you don't know, MDRT stands for $1 Million Roundtable. And I should tell you, the room was set for 1,500. Not all the seats were full, but still it was great to be able to share that kind of knowledge. So I get it. I love events. I'm super passionate about them. I've even produced something called Glen Ellen Idol, and our winner went on to be on American Idol and has this music studio in Nashville. So I know what kind of wonderful things can happen from an event. And that's why I'm so excited to share all this with you today. So before we dive in, I want you to just take a deep breath and think, what does success look like to me? And success is, I always like to start at the back and then move forward. I know a lot of people do. And one of my favorite examples is about Google Chrome. It's the browser. And what happened was, in order to design the browser, they brought the engineers in, and the PR team said, okay, we're going to write the press release. What's so great about this? And the engineers listed off everything that would be really great that the PR people would want to know. And then the engineers went back and built it. And that's kind of how you can engineer your events. You can think about what would be in our press release, what is so great that we want people to know that's going to happen at this event, and then make it happen. So it's really important to start with the end in mind. And it might not be how many people are there, how many sales you went. Maybe it's something as simple as the feeling you want people to have. Because the other side of success is failure. And you know, failure might be something like, I sent 60 individual personal invitations on LinkedIn to people to attend an event I was speaking at. I wasn't hosting it, I was just a speaker. Only 2 people out of those 60 invitations showed up. Well, was that failure? To me, no, it wasn't failure, because it gave me a reason to reach out to 60 people. But then look at another event that I went to a year ago, my friend went to this year. And she said, do you think I should go? And I said, well, I don't know. I was trying to be nice. And I'm like, if you want to, I guess you could. So she went, and she sends me a note, and she says, I just was kind of down after I went to that event. I just didn't feel good. And I said, you know, now that you mention it, I didn't either. And so if you give your attendees a bad event hangover, I really hadn't even thought of that before, but it's true. I mean, think about what events you go to and you walk out, or seminars or workshops or conferences, and you feel so uplifted and excited, and you just can't wait to share how much fun you had, whether it's on social media or with your peers or your office. It's just really over the top wonderful. And then other ones you walk out and you think, gosh, what was that all about? You know, so you really want to think about your event as an experience, and what is the success of the experience, and then what kinds of things do you really want to avoid? So on our tour today, what we're going to talk about is the CPR plan, how to create, plan, and then realize what you've got ahead of you. So with each one of these, we're going to have a little description here, we're going to talk about tools, ideas, experiences, and stories in each one of these sections. And the first one is create. You want to have a creative concept. And the quick story about this is I found an event here in Charlotte. It was a $5 per person, all you could eat food truck event. $5 all you could eat. And so of course I signed up for it. And I took my husband, and neither one of us could really believe that's what it was going to be. And we got there, but it was true. We got there right as soon as we got there. All you can eat, 4 different food trucks. That's a Carolina dog. And for those of you who don't know, it's a chili dog with slaw on it. Well, the long and the short of this is the whole thing was funded by a financial services company, a mortgage company. But I can't tell you who they were. I didn't get any follow-up. There was no signage there. To me, it was really a loss because it was a great creative concept. It was so fun, but I don't know who to thank or even who hosted it. So that's a failure. The success is it was fun. The failure is you don't know who sponsored it. Then this is another event that's actually my husband. He's at a running event here in Charlotte, and it's around a brewery. Most things here in Charlotte seem to wind up at a brewery one way or another. In fact, a lot of events start in the dark in a brewery in the morning, which is kind of amusing because when you walk out, it's sunny and bright. So anyway, this was a running event. And the reason I'm telling you this story is I was sitting at a table waiting for him to finish with my dog, talking to this nice group of people. And so I said to them, well, you weren't here for the run either, huh? And they said, no, we're doing a financial planning seminar for millennials. We got to go. And they were doing a financial planning seminar on property in a little outbuilding in the back. So you just never know, you want to go where your people are. And I talk a lot about personality and reputation. So what is your personality and what is the personality of the people you want to work with? How can you click? And then what kind of reputation? So if you want somebody who's fit and on the run, so to speak, then these running groups are great places to look. You also want to think about what kind of a concept can you have? And this is from a Charlotte Chamber of Commerce event. It was all at the Whitewater Rafting Center. And I got there and, I'm used to walking to a Chamber of Commerce event in a hotel and then walking out. So this was completely different. What they brought together was different groups who represented different subgroups. And so, for example, there's culture. We've got dancers from China. And it was funny because I asked these ladies if I could take a photo. They said yes, and I turned around and there was a whole gallery of photographers behind me. So think about, what kind of photo ops can you have from your event? And then, you could also do, if you want to do zip lining, I'm not a zip lining person, but you could do that if you wanted. And then the photo on the left is at sunset where people were getting into the rafts and doing whitewater river rafting. So really back to the experience. How can you make this really exciting? And even in the meetings and events industry, people are breaking out of hotels and dining rooms. They want to go to new places. So how can you get people out of the typical place? So what kind of tools can you find to find different kinds of ideas? One is meetup.com. And I know some of the things I'm going to be talking about, you might be thinking, I know that already. And that's good, it's fine if you already know it. What I want you to do is think, what don't I know about it yet? Because maybe you have been on Meetup, but what might be on there that you haven't discovered already? So I like Meetup because what for me is it's a place to discover not only what are people attending, but who's the organizer. And if you want to partner with someone, this is a really good place to do it. Are the event spaces open that people like to go to that are different? Are there places that you see popping up over and over that you might be able to go to too? And when I moved from Chicago to Charlotte in May, one of my challenges to myself was to go to as many events as I could. One, to meet new people because I had absolutely zero network here. I knew no one. The second one was just to see what these spaces are like because, it's fun to go check new places out. And then the third one was to really look at who's who. And it's fun, it's exciting, and it's invigorating. And it's also sometimes you get to a place and it's not that great, but I think Meetup is a good spot to just get a pulse of what's going on. Another place is Google, big surprise. But what you might not know is how well Google organizes events. And while you're looking at this, keep in your mind, your event could be here as well. Now, it's not going to be as targeted and direct as your direct mail to a dinner outing or a dinner seminar. It will put you more in the public light, but that might be good. Maybe you'll find people that you would have been missing before. So this is a great way on Google to look and see what's happening. And let's say, for instance, you love music. So what you want to do is you want to start going to concerts, and then you want to start posting your experience there. And then people on social media will see that that's what you're interested in. And so it really allows you to develop your personality and reputation too by the events you go to. And so that leads me into you. Yes, you need to really look at yourself and figure out who you like to hang with. And for me, I love social media people. And this is a group that I spoke with on a social media and storytelling panel here in Charlotte. I just feel like social media people are really fun. They're open to sharing. And whether or not they're your exact #1 target market, a lot of these people are influencers in and of their own right. So what you're doing is you're actually networking with networks. So the question I have to ask you in this section, we're going to end each question with a section, is how can you add a more creative experience to your events? How can you add a more creative experience to your events? Because people are really looking for something to take with them. They want to have fun, they want to have emotion, they want to really have something they can enjoy, and they want to connect with you, and you want them to connect with you as a person who has delivered something that was really exciting. So that's the creative part. Little different than having a dinner invitation, but something that's going to be really exciting and unusual and memorable. So how do you do that though? You know, you need a power plan, and I want you to think about more than just one event. I want you to think about a whole track of them over a year, a couple of years, and really think about a way that you can produce more events with lower overhead and get a better payout. So let's talk about how to do a power plan. Well, when and where is really important when you want to think about, do you want to do monthly or every other month or quarterly or what? And then where is important as well. And this is a photo you can see. I'm in the front row there with my friend Tony. She moved to Charlotte via Atlanta and Chicago in July. So she's a Chicago friend that I have here in Charlotte. And we're at an event called Creative Mornings. Now, Creative Mornings moves around. It's usually not the same place twice. And it's a variety show. So this is a concept that's really fun. They have a stand-up comedian. They give you a free breakfast. They have 2 musical acts. They have a quiz show. They give away not-for-profit grants, and then they end with a TED Talk. And at this one, they even had the dancers from the Abbott Brothers High Step, and the Purple Steppers were there. I couldn't believe it. So, you know, there's a lot of excitement, a lot of emotion, a lot of fun. And so when you're thinking about each event, you should have goals, something called a show flow. And a show flow is a term I picked up from the event planners that I was working with. Before we went into one of our big events, we sat together, and it was like going into the Super Bowl or something. We had our team captain giving each one of us our show flow program, and we went through everything that was going to happen when, and it was really smooth. It was a really fantastic event. So think about having a show flow. How are things going to work? How are people going to get where they need to be? Even things like, you know, where are they going to put their coats? How are you going to check in? And when you check in, now you probably know this if you've been to events, but there's really not a registration table as much anymore. Now it's just people with an iPad. You walk up to someone, you check in, and you go on. So that's kind of fun. And then what is your budget? So these are all things to think about. Also, this, you can see this graphic is how to add influence and ROI to your meeting and event marketing. Bringing influencers in is a way to really turbocharge your results, give you a lot of visibility, and I'll show you a tool on how to do that a little later. One thing we do with our clients, with everyone, is we have a wired system. And sometimes I'm like, you know, I've been saying wired for like 10 years. Is it time to reinvent it? And I really don't think so, because this is a very simplistic system that's been presented all the way to the Federal Reserve, to small businesses, to global companies, and everyone really likes it because it is so simple. And really what we want to do when we think about your plan is what keywords are you going to use? And that could be even hashtags. So we need to have like a word collection. It's the description of the event. And there's even things like character limits. There's a whole design plan just for the words alone. Then what are your intentions? Why are you doing this? And if it's just to make money, which I don't believe it is, because everyone I've ever talked to in financial services, it's not really about making money. I mean, great, it's having sales, that's all exciting, but it's really about helping people live their dreams or feel more financially secure. It's about emotions. It's not just about you making commission. I truly believe that. So we need to think about what are the intentions for your client, then what routes are they going to take to find you and your event. And this is really important because I feel like one of the most underutilized routes is public relations. So I'd love to take you through that. That's a whole nother course, but public relations is a way to really reach out to media, influencers, even search engines to really let people know about who you are and what you do. And then of course the experience, the storytelling, you know, how have you helped people? How have you changed their lives? And to me, I know there's case studies. I like to call them the success stories. And I know in financial services, you have to be very careful. You don't really want to have endorsements, and there's also a privacy issue. So we have to think about what kinds of experiences can you use that comply with everything, but still express the relationships that you have. And then designs, and we'll talk about that in the next section. But let's move on here to marketing. And a couple things you can look at. This is the Creative Mornings website. And even if you're thinking, do I want to hang out with creative people? I don't know that that's my audience. I'm not sure what your chapter is like, but I know that every month I go and I sit in a room with 300 to 500 people. Sometimes it's the basement of a hardware store. I feel re-energized and inspired. And if it's not Creative Mornings, there's some other kind of group that you can go to that's going to make you feel energized, inspired, and just really happy. So this is a place to check out and see what they're doing. You can also, let's say you want to do an event and you want to do something a little different, you can see what they're doing, and that'll give you some ideas. Then Eventbrite is a great place to do research and also post your event. I wish I had time to take you through the best ways to utilize Eventbrite because there are so many. I can't do that on this presentation because we don't have enough time. But Eventbrite is a place that has become like the network hotspot for events. And the cool thing is you can sell tickets. So instead of giving everyone a dinner, they can buy a ticket. And that, it might sound counterintuitive, but it might be really good because then all of a sudden they're not expecting to be sold something. They want to buy into an experience. It's something you need to test, but I really think it could work. So that's Eventbrite. And I've been working with Eventbrite, since my Social Media Club Chicago days. And I just love the experience for the planner and also the attendee. They even let you do marketing and they give you stats. It's really, really exciting. Now, the next thing is Facebook events. Facebook events are their own breed. And this is, I just want to show you the Help Center because it does tell you a lot about how to set up a Facebook event. Advertising on Facebook with events can be very, very cost effective. And you can even break it out by demographics, by income. It's fun. It really is. I just love using Facebook ads. So that's something I wish I could get into more. I can't get into it that much right now, but I do want you to think about it. If you're not using Facebook events and advertising, that's something you definitely want to look into, especially for local. Even some of the not-for-profits I've worked with, we've run ads and we have increased their event attendance by 100% or even 200 or 300%. And we find a lot of new people that never even knew that the organization was there. So Facebook is great. So the question in this section is, what is your SMART goal for the experience and the relationships? And if you do any kind of goal planning at all, then you've seen SMART: specific, measurable, attainable, relevant, and time-based. And I'm sure you've done all this. I think that it's a good question for you though. How do events and seminars and workshops, whatever you want to call them, your live event experience, how does that fit into what your business offers? And really, how can you set some goals for that? So maybe one of your basic preliminary goals is you want to have one event in, let's say, by April 1st. You want to invite your key clients that you have right now and ask them to invite a friend if you want to do that. So, you know, you can get some new people. How is it going to be relevant? You could, well, taxes, I don't know, some people might already have theirs filed. Maybe they're coming up. It could be that. If you're in a place where sports is really exciting, maybe you talk about spring training for baseball and you have somebody come in and talk, or maybe you have a really great high school coach, they come in and talk. And it's got to be time-based. And time-based, this is really important because with events, there is a countdown clock. There are a lot of goals we can set in life, and if we don't have the countdown clock, they never happen. And at least that's true for me, maybe not you, but, you know, I have this whole list of stuff I'd like to do. I'd like to create a course, you know, and on and on and on. I'd like to write a book, but if there's no countdown timer, it doesn't get done. And with an event, the countdown timer, it kind of makes you uncomfortable because it's like, oh my gosh, especially with marketing, you have to get it all done. You have to show up. You have to have things happen. And if anyone's ever been married or had a baby or graduated from school, you know what it's like when you have that countdown clock. Things have to get done. So that's another thing I love about events. They kind of force you to make things happen. So think about what is your SMART goal for the experience and also the relationship. What do you want to have happen? So our last section is going to be realize, and that is why and how. So how are you going to really realize these results? What is your marketing strategy going to be? And this really is like the meat of the matter. I mean, it's great to have a creative concept. It's cool to have a plan, your show flow, all that stuff. But if you don't know how to market it, you don't really have an event. So what we like to do is work with our clients in 4D. It's kind of like the north, south, east, and west of marketing. And I came up with this concept. It used to be 3D, which was digital, direct, dynamic. And then I thought, you know what, data is really huge. In fact, you could start with data. And so it's really important to know that you can measure marketing, and you probably all know that, but you might not be aware of how much information you can get from marketing. So for example, back to Facebook ads, Facebook will tell you who clicked on your ad. They'll give you demographics. If you're on Twitter, they'll tell you what your people want to know more about. They'll tell you what their income is. For example, my Twitter followers, I think it's like 65% of them make over 100,000 a year, which blows me away. You know, that's great. It's just, and LinkedIn, we know that people on LinkedIn, we know the demographics, what they are there. And I'm going to show you a few examples of social media data that are really exciting. So let's just kind of go through this a little bit more so you understand what we're talking about. Digital is anything that's on a screen. So it could be mobile marketing, it could be a laptop, it could be a desktop, but anything that happens on the screen is digital. And with digital, you want to make sure that you're where people can find you. And this, of course, I know we're talking about events and workshops and seminars. So one place, if you haven't already, is Google My Business. And if you go to Google My Business, you can set up an account there. You can post your events. You just want to be everywhere people are looking. And Yelp is another place. I know that's kind of, some people like it, some people don't, you know. What you want to do though is be where your people are looking and where your competitors are. So digital is super important. That's where SEO comes in and where events can help you. Because if we have a good headline, for example, in your press release, that will show up in search. So I love digital. And I've been doing digital, I don't even want to say for how long, but I started my blog in 2006. I'll just say that. And I have over 1,200 posts there. So I just love what content and digital can do for you. The next part is direct. And direct is kind of just lost. It's something I think needs a lot of attention though. And when I was a guest teacher at a startup school, and I was talking to these people who were learning how to market startups, I said, how are you going to market? and they said, oh, we're going to run Facebook ads. And I showed them this 4-part structure, and they loved direct marketing. They said, how come no one's ever told us about direct marketing? I said, well, I don't know, but anyway, welcome to the direct marketing world. So direct marketing is super proven. It goes all the way back to the Sears Roebuck catalog. It's very traditional in a way, but the way to reinvent it is to really look at not only what you're doing with direct marketing, but also how you're communicating directly with people. And that flows right into dynamic. You know, how dynamic are you? If you're something, if your marketing and your event just looks like blah, you know, if it's really boring, plain oatmeal, no one's going to get excited. But dynamic could be in visuals, it could be in video, it could be in your copy. There's all kinds of ways to take what you've got and make it supercharged. And that's what I love to do. I love to put fizz in things because people, they just want to come. If you've got something that's exciting or the visual is exciting, people want to be there. And then the last part, of course, is data or data, whichever you want to say. Data, you could start with that and say, this is really what we want to measure. But what it will give you is insights to what is going on in the market around you. So let's just take a quick step back into content, because this is kind of like direct marketing and dynamic. And I just want to encourage you to really brush up your speaking skills. If you're going to be doing a seminar, do yourself a favor and make sure that you are polished, you're a good presenter, and that your information resonates. And a few quick tips. Right now, audiences are expecting to be part of the conversation. They don't want to sit in a lecture. They will, to be polite, especially if you're buying them a lovely dinner, but they want to be part of the conversation. So it could be something where you ask questions, maybe you have a quiz that they can take, maybe you have an audience interaction, but they want to talk to each other. They also don't want to have canned presentations. They don't like that. They want something that's customized for them. This could be as simple as if you're doing something for a certain part of town. Maybe I know in Charlotte, the South End has got a different feel than the North End. And in the Chicago area, I was in Glen Ellen. Glen Ellen is going to be different than Oak Park. I live there too, so you really need to think about how to customize your content, how to have good delivery skills. You can go to Toastmasters if you need to learn more about that. And just think of yourself as a public speaker, because that's really what you are. If you're going to be going out and doing seminars, you need to be a good public speaker. So if you need help with that, I can help you with that. I love helping people. I was the dean for the National Speakers Academy here in Illinois, and I am going to the National Speakers Association Winter Conference to learn even more about how to be a great speaker. Now, this is an example of social media and data. Here is a post I put up about the National Speakers Academy Illinois Spring Program. And this was a quick little silly video. I think it was 36 seconds long. At this point, this was only a month old. It had 3,000 views, and a couple months later, it was climbing up to 4,000. So there are things you can do. I mean, how long does it take to do a 36-second video? Oh, wait. It takes 36 seconds. So anyway, you want to really think about how you can get content out there that people will love. And this was from, I think, 2018, and video has gotten even more popular. So if you have an event, you can do event previews, you can do lead ups, you can do it via video, social. And so what are some of the tools you can use? Well, one of them that I love, and you may know about this already, is called Canva. And Canva is a tool that allows you to do graphics. And the cool thing is they already have templates, so you can go in and use their template, and then you can resize it if you would like. You can drop in your image, you can use one of theirs, and you're all good to go. So when you come up with your event or your workshop, I would go in here and design my own graphic and just figure out what your theme is going to be and pick something that goes along with that. Now, if you're thinking about using influencers and getting people to your event that can help promote it, then you can go to Social Blue Book and you can see how much it would cost to work with one of those social media influencers. So if you are in an area and you know there's one person that's doing great on social media, that's lovely, but you need to make sure that their audience matches yours. So let me say that again. You need to make sure their audience matches yours. So for instance, there is a huge trend for women who are, let's say, I think over like 50 to be fashion models on Instagram. And if that's your market, women over 50 who are fashion models, great. If your market is going to be small business owners, then that might be a different influencer. So you really need to look for a good match. And one thing I used to do before social media really became popular is when my clients would have an event, I just invite the important people in town to show up, and then we'd introduce them. So getting those people to come might be kind of tricky unless if you ask them to be a speaker or say a few words, and then they usually show up right away, especially if they're a politician. But with politics, again, you have to be careful. You have to really choose somebody that aligns with you and your brand. But if you're ever interested in using influencers, this Social Blue Book is really kind of a fun way to see what the value is. And if you are a person who is on social media, then I would recommend you take your Instagram account and either make it a business or creator account if you haven't already, because you'll get so many more stats than you would if you had an individual account. When you do an event, you're going to have a lot of different moving parts. And if you have one master plan set up that you can use over and over again as a template, and you know how all these parts fit together, it's going to make planning your events a lot more enjoyable. I wanted to say easy breezy, but I don't know if events are ever quite that easy. They can be a lot more manageable though if you have a plan in place. So Trello is a way to do it. I know event planners use that, and they do have a free plan. So think about how you're going to get your team on board. And then for social media, and you may already know about Hootsuite, or there are other programs like this, but what you want to do is you want to find a platform where you can promote your social media all in one place. And what's really nice is you could just drop in, like, 1 week left to register and have it go to all different accounts. But then the issue becomes every account has different sizes for images and photos. So you might need to resize, or maybe you just want to do text. Maybe you want to ask people to share. One of the things I love about event marketing is I do a couple of different marketing plans, and this is how I won that award. Is I did a marketing plan for the hosting organization, which would be you, and then I did a marketing plan for people who were cheerleaders, if you will. So in this case, it was for a group of 12 different not-for-profit organizations, and so each one of them got this sheet, or not sheet actually. If they printed it out, it was a sheet. But anyway, they got a list of social media updates with timing that went to every platform so that we had a resounding effect. And so for you, it could be people in your office. If you have a team, it could be team members. It could be just people that you've agreed to have peer promotion with. It could be if you're dealing with a not-for-profit, then you can send them something to promote. And as a speaker, I really like to come up with my own promotion plan, because I can't tell you, it's just a handful of events over time have said, this is what we'd like you to promote, or here's a graphic you can use. And it's, to me, a really missed opportunity, because if you have a speaker that you'd like to promote your event and they have a network, why not give them the graphics? Because then you'll have consistency and you'll save them time. And there's also more buy-in. Whenever you give people something that's, ready mix or ready to post, they'll do it. So I think that would be good. And another thing I'd love to have you do is do a live show on Facebook as a lead up to your event. Just say, this is what we're going to be talking about. If you're going to be at a restaurant, maybe have a quick interview with the chef, if they'll let you do that. I don't know why they wouldn't, though. Everyone loves free promotion. So just really think about how you can kind of get that cadence going and really build up a crescendo to when the event is going to take place. This is, and maybe you know this, LinkedIn now allows you to post events. They took it away for a while, which I was like, why did you take away events? But they brought it back. So thank you, LinkedIn. And this is the event posting for the event that you're listening to right now. What is great about this is LinkedIn allows you to invite connections. So even if you wanted to do a private event, you could, and you could just invite a few people that are your connections. So for instance, if you wanted to do, let's say you live in Paradise City. So Paradise City LinkedIn networking group. So you go through and you look at everyone who lives in Paradise City and you pull all the people that are, let's say maybe they're chief marketing officers. So you pull in Paradise City, chief marketing officers, you have an event, coffee at, then you send them an invitation that says, hey, we'd love to join. We'd love it if you would join us. We want to get together and talk about marketing or whatever your thing is going to be. It could be deep fly fishing. It could be bike riding. It could be gourmet groups. But anyway, you want to get people together, then this is a way to do it, and it's free to use. So now we have covered a lot. We had covered create. We've talked about planning. We've talked about how to realize results. And now, how are you going to do this? I hope you're all really excited. So how are you going to realize your 2020 seminar success? And I have an idea for you. But before we go to that, let's talk about our tour. Today, we did talk about how are you going to do something creative. People really want an event experience. They want to go somewhere and feel good and feel like they were at an event. Then you want to think about how are you going to plan this? How often? Where's it going to be? What's your show flow going to be like? What are your goals? You know, so we want to make sure that you have a solid plan in place and one that you can have over and over. Same thing for your event marketing plan. You want to have a template that you can use over and over, keeping in mind that there are all kinds of avenues for marketing. There is direct mail. You can use your website. You can use social media. You can use public relations, and on and on and on. So what you need is what you want a plan, and what you need are results. And for that, I have the 2020 Seminar Success System, Seminar Marketing Success System, or you could say 2020 Live Event Marketing Success System. You can kind of switch out that word seminar. But what it's going to be is 4 different classes, and they will be live. So we'll talk on the phone together. We will work through it together. You'll have a study group, so you can go online and ask questions. And then you'll get those templates and checklists that you need so that you can turn them over to your team and say, hey, let's get this ready to go. Or you can do it yourself if you want, whatever works best for you. And you can bring a team member. So if you want to sign up for your office, that would be great. So if you were going to go to an event planner or a strategic marketing consulting company, they might say, wow, what a wonderful idea. We are so glad you're here. It's going to cost between $7,500 to $2,500 and up for your investment. So it's a lot of money up front. But you know what? If you sold 10 times that, so let's say you made $75,000, maybe it would be a good investment. So you need to really think of, is that what you want to do? And of course we could do that, but maybe what you want to do is learn how to do it yourself. So this is the offer today. It's $997, and you can sign up at great.social/seminar. And here is a place for you to just put in your information, and we'll be all set to go. This is a recap of what we're going to be covering with the 4 different classes. The first is your concept. So who and what with public relations and personality and reputation. What are your words? What are your intentions? Concept 2 is the plan, when and where, what are the routes and experiences. 3, results, why and how, and your design in 4D. And then the last part is the deep dive with tools and tactics. So what you'll walk in with is a starting point, and you'll walk out with a fully producible event plan. Now, this isn't going to be for you if you hate anything new, because there is going to be some new stuff. And it's not that you're going to have to really deep dive and learn a lot, but I guarantee you we are going to do some new things, and we're going to make it as easy to do as we can, but you will try new things. If you're happy where you are right now, awesome. And you don't need any new business, good for you. That's fantastic. And thank you for staying on the call. But if you want and need more time, and by that, I mean, I think one of the reasons events don't get off the ground and live seminars don't do as well is because they just don't get the time they need. And I think that's true of marketing in general. We were talking to a prospect yesterday and they said, oh, whenever I do my marketing, I just get great results. My boss is so happy, but right now I'm just so busy. I don't have time to do marketing. So what you need is a plan so that marketing can run in the background, and it gives you greater visibility. So you're somebody who is promoting events. They know who you are. You get higher credibility because they can relate a face with a person and a business, which is important because, you know, I can't tell you how many times I go to websites, and maybe you've done this too, and you read about the company, but there's nothing about them. And why would you want to do business with a faceless organization? So you want to have higher credibility. And I'm guessing that most of people on this call, if not everyone, knows a lot of people. That's why you're in this business. You already have high credibility. So how can we take what you have now and really broadcast it out? You would have a sharper competitive edge because you're starting to get data you haven't gotten from anywhere else, and you know what your competitors are doing. So you're right at the top of the pack, if not leading it, and by miles. And that really plays up and winds up with bigger and better leads. So you're going to be dealing with the exact targets that you want, who can give you great referrals, which means faster and more frequent sales. Now, this is really all up to you. You know, it's a plan that will help get you on that track. And so the outcomes I'd love to see you have is to go from being fuzzy to focused. So we can really zero in and target what you want to do. We want to create those emotional experiences so that people associate you and your business with happiness, success, and just comfort and security, and all the things in life that they're looking for. We want to discover the exact map to your best prospects and get them all in the room together. You want to produce an event everyone wants to attend and share. And this is really important. You want them to share on social media, in real life. You want them to say, wow, I can't believe how great this is. And you want to attract more attention, leads, and sales. So those are the outcomes. So again, it's 4 classes, a study group, and templates. It's a do it with you. It's not just listen and you're off on your own. It's really, we're going to work on this together. There is a 90-day risk-free guarantee. So you can come back and say, hey, this didn't work. I will say though, you know, and maybe you've been like this too, if you buy a piece of, let's just use an example of kitchen equipment. You buy the blender you've always wanted or the mixer you've always wanted, and you never make anything, and then you say, wow, this doesn't work. Well, it doesn't work because you haven't tried it. So I would love to see you try things and have you be part of the system. Now, for the folks that are on this call, there is a one-on-one event marketing map call, which is a $750 value. That will be included with everything you get if you sign up. And then, you know, the goal is really to see success ahead. And that's really what I want for you. I really want you to take advantage of all the opportunities there are out there beyond taking people to dinner, to really giving them an experience of a lifetime over time, a variety of events. So that's what I have for you today. If you have questions, you can get in touch with me on LinkedIn. You can also send me an email. That's going to be coming out. And do we have any questions right now? Let me see. Okay, well, I don't see any questions right now. I do wish you all the best success and a fantastic 2020, and I would love to work with you. So please feel free to reach out, and I will be talking to you. Thanks. Bye.